වයඹ දිගින් නිර්ත දිගින් හා බටහිරින් ප්‍රංශයෙන්ද උතුරින් ජර්මනියෙන්ද නැගෙනහිරින් ඕස්ට්‍රියාවෙන්ද අග්නි දිගින් හා දකුණු දිශාවෙන් ඉතාලියෙන්ද වටවි මධ්‍යම යුරෝපයේ පිහිටා ඇති ස්විට්සර්ලන්තය ෆෙඩරල් බහුපාක්ෂික ජනරජයකි. වර්ග කිලෝමීටර 41285ක විශාලත්වයෙන් යුතු ස්විට්සර්ලන්තයේ අගනුවර බර්නේ වෙයි. ජර්මන්වරු, ප්‍රංශවරු, ඉතාලිවරු, යුගොස්ලාව්වරු, ස්පාඤ්ඤවරු සහ රොමෑන්වරු මෙහි ජාතික ලෙස හඳුනාගත්. රොමෑන්ස්, ඉතාලි, ප්‍රංශ, ජර්මන් එරට භාෂාවන් ලෙස භාවිත වන අතර රෝමානු කතෝලික ආගම ප්‍රධාන ආගම වෙයි. ආදි මානවයන්ගෙන් පරිණාමය වූ හා හෙල්වෙට්ටි ගෝත්‍ර මෙම භූමියේ මුල් පදිංචිකරුවන් වූ අතර ක්‍රිස්තු පූර්ව 58 දී රෝමන්සුරු මෙම දේශය තම යටතට ගෙන තිබේ. 6 වෙනි ශතවර්ෂයේදී ෆ්‍රැන්ක් නම් ජනවර්ගයේද මෙම දේශය පාලනය කොට තිබේ. 13 වන ශතවර්ෂයේදී හැබ්ස්බර්ග් නම් රාජ්‍ය වංශයේ පාලනයට මෙම දේශය යටත් පැති අතර 1291 වර්ෂයේදී මෙම රටෙහි පැවති ස්විස් යූරි සහ අන්ටවෝල්ඩන් යන කැන්ටන හැම්ස්බර්ග් පාලනයට එරෙහිව විලියම් ටෙල් නම් දේශප්‍රේමියාගේ නායකත්වය යටතේ නිදහස් සටන් ව්‍යාපාරයක් ආරම්භ කරනු ලැබීය. එහෙයින් විලියම් ටෙල් එරට ජාතික වීරවරයෙකු ලෙස සලකනු ලබයි. මෙම නිදහස් ව්‍යාපාරය තුළින් බිහි වූ ස්විස් ලීගය පසු කලෙක බලවත්ව හැම්ස්බර්ග්වරු පරාජය කොට ස්විට්සර්ලන්තයේ අර්ධ ස්වාධීනත්වයක් හිමි කරගත්තේය. 1515 දී ප්‍රංශයේ ස්විට්සර්ලන්තයේ පරාජය කරනු ලැබූ අතර 1648 දී එරටට නිදහස හිමි විය. 1798 සහ 1803 අතර කාලයේ මෙම රටෙහි හෙල්වැට්ටි ජනරජය බිහි වූ අතර 1814 1815 පැවති වියනා කොංග්‍රසය මෙම රට කැන්ටන් නම් පාලන ඒකක 22කට බෙදා වෙන් කරනු ලැබීය. 1848 දී ස්විට්සර්ලන්තයේ පූර්ණ ෆෙඩරල් රාජ්‍යයක් වූ අතර 23 වන කැන්ටන් පාලන ඒකකයේ ලෙස ජූරා 1979 දී එරටට එකතු විය. කෘෂිකාර්මික කටයුතු ලෙස ස්විට්සර්ලන්තයේ තුල තිරිඟු, බාර්ලි ආදී ධාන්‍ය, බෝංචි ආදී මාංශ භෝග, ඇපල්, මිදිවැනි පළතුරු වර්ග, එළවලු වර්ග වගා කරනු අතර ගව, එළු, කුකුළු ආදී සත්ව පාලනයන් සිදු කරමින් කිරි නිෂ්පාදනයද සිදු කරනු ලබයි. එමෙන්ම කාර්මික කටයුතු ලෙස යන්ත්‍ර සූත්‍ර, සූක්ෂම මෙවලම්, අත්ඔරලෝසු, ඖෂධ, රසායනික ද්‍රව්‍ය, රෙදිපිලි ආදී කර්මාන්තද සිදු කරනු ලබයි. ජාත්‍යන්තර ආයතන රාශියකම මූලස්ථානය ස්විට්සර්ලන්තය තුල පිහිටා තිබේ. ශාන්ත ගෝල්හි පෞරාණික කන්‍යාරාමය, පැරණි බර්නේ නගරය, පෞරාණික බෙනඩික් නිකායික දෙව්මැදුර ලෝක උරුම ලෙස ස්විට්සර්ලන්තය තුල හඳුනාගත හැකි අතර කොන්ස්ටන්, ලූසන්, ජිනීවා ආදී දර්ශනීය විල් සහ මැටර්හෝන් නම් දර්ශනීය ශිඛරයේද එරට සංචාරක ආකර්ෂණය දිනාගත් ස්ථාන ලෙස හඳුනාගත හැකි වෙයි. ලෝකයේ තුල දර්ශනීය මෙන්ම සාමකාමී රටක් ලෙසද ස්විට්සර්ලන්තය විරාජමාන වේ.
Venerable Sir, Your Excellency, as you say in your country, Guten Tag, Buongiorno, and we say Ayubowan, which means may you live long. A greeting we can say at any time of the day, not only in the morning, any time we can say may you live long. So I'm very happy to wish you may you live long, and you are with the Buddhist channel here now. As you know, we have very strong media network in this country for years. And among these networks, we have a few Buddhist channels just to send the message of peace to the world. And he is the director of this channel, and we are just celebrating 10 years of its existence last week. So we are happy that he, Venerable Dharanagama Kusala Dhamma, is the man behind this. So I will invite him to welcome you, of course, in Sinhala.
අපි බොහොම සතුටු වෙනවා අද දවසේ බෞද්ධ නාලිකාවේ මේ වැඩසටහනට සම්ප්‍රාප්ත වුණු ස්විට්සර්ලන්තයේ තානාපති හොයින්ස් වෝකර් නෙදකෝන් මැතිතුමා ඊටාම කරුණාවෙන් අපි මේ අවස්ථාව පිළිගන්නවා. මොකද එතුමා අපේ අසල්වැසියෙක්, අපේ විහාරස්ථානයේ අසලම තමයි එතුමාගේ තානාපති කාර්යාලය, ස්විට්සර්ලන්ත තානාපති කාර්යාලය පිහිටලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් බෞද්ධ නාලිකාව ආරම්භ කරලා දස වර්ෂයක් පූර්ණේ වෙන අවස්ථාවේදී මේ සාකච්ඡාවට අද දවසේ පැමිණීම පිළිබඳව එතුමා මහත් බහුමානයෙන් පිළිගන්න අතර අසල්වැසියෙක් ලෙස එවැගේම ලෝකේ ඊටාම ලස්සනම රාජ්‍යයක් හැටියට එවැගේම ඊටාම දැකුම් කළු අලංකාර රටක් ලෙසත් එවැගේම දියුණු රාජ්‍යයක් ලෙසත් එවැගේම බොහොම සාමකාමී දේශයක් ලෙසත් ලෝකේ පිළිගැනීමට ලක්ව තිබෙන ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨලන්තය අපේ රටත් සමග කිට්ටු සම්බන්ධතා පවත්වන රාජ්‍යයක්. ඉතින් අද දවසේ බෞද්ධ නාලිකාවට ඔබතුමා පැමිණීම අපට ලොකු ගෞරවයක් ලෙස අප සැලකනවා. ඒ වගේම ඔබතුමාට බෞද්ධයන් වශයෙන් අපි බොහොම කරුණාව මෛත්‍රිය පෙරදරි කරගෙන බොහොම සතුටින් පිළිගන්නවා.
He says that he's very honored by your presence here, and he says one of your neighbors, good neighbors, living the same road. So he says, being one of the good neighbors, love to have you here. And by the way, his names of Buddhist monks must be remembered separately. He is Dharanagama Kusaladhamma Thero. He is the chief prelate of this temple and the director of this the Buddhist network. When you say Buddhist monks are named with two words. One referring to his village of birth, and the other one is a name from Buddhist literature. His Dharanagama means he comes from the village Dharanagama in Sri Lanka. And Kusaladhamma is the Buddhist name. So you'll remember all Buddhist monks have two names. One referring to his village of birth, like Valpala Rahula, who wrote many books in French, in German, Spanish on Buddhism. So he's from Valpala and Rahul is the name. So he's very happy to have you here. And the purpose of this channel for information is to take the message of peace of the Buddha to the world. Now remember in 1952 in San Francisco, just our Second World War, we had this congress there about peace, and they all were charging Japan for bombarding Sri Lanka. And there our delegate, at that time the Minister of Finance, Mr. J.R. Javadana said, we don't need any compensation. We are willing to pardon them. He said, hatred must be overcome not by hatred but by non-hatred. So that went along with, that's the Buddha's message. We don't hate people. So peace must be brought in that way, by not by hatred but by peace and heart. You will all remember in the UN Charter, we just had the UN of Vesak here last week. In the Charter, in the preamble, it says, since wars begin in the minds of men, including women too at this time, it's the hearts of men that defenses of peace must establish. So peace must be here, not in the war field, here. So the purpose of the Buddhist channel is to take this message of peace to the world. So and it's very well for the last 10 years now. So we know something about your country. We heard about you. So we'll, we also know that you live in your country. It's a very kind of multilingual, multi-ethnic country, and a beautiful country. Sri Lankans have a very wonderful image of your country as one of the most beautiful and very peaceful countries in Europe. So I'd be happy if you can tell us about this coexistence. How do we manage to exist together with all these differences in your country?
Yeah, Venerable Thera, Ambassador, good morning, Aibowan. It's a great pleasure and an honor for me to be invited by your television, the Buddhist television. And I think you can never say enough about peace and about the importance to communicate and to speak about the peace. I will start with the preamble of our constitution, because I think the preamble is actually capturing the vision of Switzerland very nicely. I quote, "In the name of Almighty God, the Swiss people and the cantons, mindful of their responsibility towards creation, resolved to renew their confederation so as to strengthen liberty, democracy, independence, and peace in a spirit of solidarity and openness towards the world, determined to live their diversity in unity with mutual consideration and respect, conscious of their common achievements and their responsibility towards future generations, and in the knowledge that only those who use their freedom remain free, and that the strength of a people is measured by the well-being of its weakest members, adopt the following constitution. That gives you, in a nutshell, the vision of Switzerland. It doesn't mean that we are always able to have the same ideas or the same interest, but we try to get to an agreement and to create platform where these different interests can be discussed. If I may start perhaps with Switzerland. Switzerland, I think it's important to know, is part of Europe. Even though we are not member of the European Union, it's part of Europe and its culture. The size is around 41,000 square kilometers, so it's about 2/3 of Sri Lanka. We have 8.2 million people. 25% are foreigners. This is an integral part of the people who are living in Switzerland, and they are contributing in a very important way to the life, in the economy, in the cultural life, in the spiritual life. The idea of citizenship is that each citizen has an individual and a collective responsibility. An individual responsibility for himself. So it's not the state in the first place who cares about the citizen. The citizen has the responsibility to care about himself. And then he has also a responsibility to contribute to the society according to this ability. Everybody has a different way how he can contribute to the society. Then I think very important, it's the people and the cantons. So that gives you an idea that Switzerland has been built from bottom up. First, there were the cantons. I come from a very tiny canton, Uri, and Uri, together with Schwyz and Unterwalden, founded Switzerland in 1291. This was actually the nucleus of Switzerland. Then over the centuries, other cantons joined. And in 1848, after a short civil war, the confederation has been established. Very important, I think, for us is fundamental rights. Yeah. Fundamental rights, every individual has fundamental rights which cannot be violated. And especially the state and the state institutions have to respect that. Linked to this is the principle of rule of law. All state activities are based and limited on a law. And that is very important. We also think that the liberty of every individual is very important, that he can make the best out of his opportunity. And at the same time, we know that we should have a social security who is addressing risks like old age, like health issues, like unemployment. Then when it comes to our political institutions, we say we are a democratic state and we are a federalist state. What does that mean? Democracy means that the people are sovereign. The people, the citizens, are delegating their power, their political power, to the politicians. And the politicians have to serve the people, not the other way around. So, and with respect to the federal system, the basic principle is the principle of subsidiarity. That means you should offer the public tasks and services as close as possible to the citizen. you start with the level of the community, and whatever you can do as a state to provide a service at that level, you do at that level. Only things you cannot do at that level, you elevate to the level, in our case, of cantons, which is similar as your provinces. And what you cannot do at the cantonal level, you can do on the federal level. So this principle of subsidiarity is also typically Swiss, in a sense that it's a bottom-up approach.
Your Excellency, can I interpret you a moment?
Please.
Of cantons, is Switzerland one of the cantons? You name Switzerland, the very first part of it. Does it refer to a canton in your country? Swiss. When you say Switzerland,
Yeah. The Swiss people, you mean?
yeah, is that refer to a particular canton in?
No, yeah, because we have one canton who is called Schwyz.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
which is very close to the. So we have actually an overlapping in the name.
Why did you choose that name for the name of your country? That particular group. Is there a particular reason for it, or it just happened?
Yeah, it just happened like that.
Okay, well,
yeah,
please, go ahead.
yeah. But we have 26 cantons.
Okay.
Yeah. One of them is called Schwyz. Yeah. Okay. Though this subsidiarity principle is really crucial. Yeah. Then we have the principle of division of power. It's the same. Actually, it's the same idea. Division of power between the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary.
Yes.
Also, the division of power in the central part. For instance, we have a parliament with two chambers. Yeah, the Council of the Nation and the Council of the States. The Council of the Nations, there are 200 seats, which are distributed according to the size of the cantons. So, for instance, Canton Zurich has 1.4 million inhabitants. They get 35 or 36 seats. Canton Uri, it's only 36,000 inhabitants. They get 1 seat. But in the Council of States, every canton, independent of its size, gets 2 seats.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So this
Very,
is
very
balancing,
very
and these two chambers have the same obligations with respect to the legislation and their task as a parliament. If I say we are part of Europe and its culture, then I can switch to the fact that Switzerland is multicultural. We have the 3 of the main European cultures are in Switzerland: the German culture, the French culture, and the Italian culture, plus Rätoromansch,
Okay.
plus the many cultures who come in with the foreign population, including 50,000 people coming from Sri Lanka.
Oh, really?
The Sri Lankan diaspora in Switzerland is the biggest non-European community in Switzerland, and they are very well integrated.
Can I just say that in Sinhala for
Yeah,
listeners?
please.
එතුමා කියන්නේ ඒ රටේ ඉන්න ප්‍රධාන ස්විස් ජාතිකයන්, ජර්මන් ජාතිකයන් සහ ඉතාලි ඇරුණාම විදේශියන් වශයෙන් වැඩිපුර ඉන්න ශ්‍රී ලංකිකයන් කියලා. ඉතින් හරිය සන්තෝෂ වෙනවා මෙතන විශාල ශ්‍රී ලංක ජනතාවක් ඉන්නවා ස්විට්සර්ලන්තේ. Yes.
Yeah. So that means that we have a diverse cultural landscape, as we have also a diverse geographical landscape, as you have seen in the introduction of the film.
Yes.
So we have lakes, we have Alps, we have plain, we have a considerable diversity. But the diversity is perceived as a strength, as an asset. It's not a liability. We are proud of our diversity. Yeah? But it requires that you not only respect the other, but you have an active interest to know what the others is doing, how he thinks, what his spirituality is. So we have this diversity is something we really are very much interested to maintain. But you have to practice that. Yeah? You have to practice the exchange. So the exchange between the German-speaking part and the French-speaking part, and the Italian-speaking part. So that is very important. And we also have, because Switzerland actually it's consisted by minorities. So naturally, everybody agrees to protect minorities. If you are in the parliament, there is no stable majority who is always making all the decisions. They are changing coalitions between the different parties. So the minority protection is very important. When it comes to the federal level, in our federal council, which is our central government, we have only 7 ministers. Yeah? And these 7 ministers, they represent 80% of the electorate. 80%. That means we practice a national unity government since many decades, and it is very successful. So I want just to give this message also. I think the reason why we have this system of collegiality is that whatever the central government is deciding in the parliament, at the end, it's the people who say, we accept or we don't accept. So, for instance, the government has now, with the parliament, elaborated a new law of energy, yeah, new energy law. And next Sunday we will have a vote on that law. This law is an important tool in our climate change policy to reduce the carbon. Yeah. So on Sunday, the people and the cantons will say whether they accept that law or not. And because the government knows that, they have from the very beginning an interest to take all the stakeholders on one table. So that prevents that one interest group can have, let's say, a unique say how legislation is drafted. And we need a lot of time for this consultation until a compromise is achieved. But when we achieve that compromise, and when it is accepted by the people and the cantons, then the implementation is very easy, because people say we said yes to that, and then we also will do our best to implement that. So I think this empowerment of the citizen and to give him a say in important questions is really crucial. I can mention another very practical example. So I told you we are part of Europe, and Switzerland is with the Alps, is part of the Alps.
Yes.
So we are linking North Europe with South Europe. It goes through the transit route, goes the shortest way, goes through Switzerland. And we last year opened a new 57 kilometers long Gotthard Basin tunnel. Basically a tunnel who goes through the Alps.
Okay.
Yeah? And at the beginning there was a vote about that. People were asked, do you want to spend 13 billion Swiss francs
Yes.
to build that tunnel? And they said, yes, we want that.
Okay.
And then it took us 17 years to building that. It was one of the most complicated construction
Where does
works.
it begin and end? What is the, yeah.
It begins where I come from, Canton Uri,
Okay.
and it goes to the other side, Canton Ticino, our Italian
Right.
speaking canton. And they drilled. You know that Switzerland, normally we say we are famous or proud also to be to deliver quality work.
Yes.
Yeah. So we drilled from both sides, 28 kilometers.
And met.
When they came together, the horizontal deviation was 6 centimeters.
Wonderful.
And the vertical deviation was 1 centimeter. Yeah? And they excavated 28 million tons of material. This is about 5 times the size of the Cheops pyramid in Cairo.
So wonderful engineers you have.
Yeah. So, but the main thing is that people had the possibility, because it was such a huge project, the government wanted to have the backing of the people. So they got the backing, and then they were in line with the time frame and in line with the budget. after 17 years.
May I just summarize some
Yeah,
of what
please.
you said? එතුමා කියන්නේ ස්විට්සර්ලන්තයේ හඳුන්වන්න හොඳම නම තමයි විවිධත්වය කියන එක. මොකද හැම ආතියෙම විවිධයි රට. සුභා සම්බත් අති බලනකොට සුභා ධර්ම අති බලනකොට ඇල්ප්ස් කියන කඳු වැටියක් තියෙනවා, හිමෙන් වැහුණු කඳු වැටියක් තියෙනවා. නොයෙක් හිම ක්‍රීඩාවේ සිද්ධ වෙනවා. අනිත් විශාල ලස්සන ගංගාවක්. ඒක සුභා ධර්ම අතින් බැලුවම හරිම විවිධයි ලස්සන රටක් මේක. ජනතාව අතින් බැලුවොත් ඔක්කොම එක වර්ගෙ නෙමෙයි. ජර්මන් භාෂාව කතා කරන, ප්‍රංශ කතා කරන, ඉතාලි කතා කරන අය ඉන්නවා. ඒත් එක විදේශීය රටවලින් ගියත් ඉන්නවා. එතුමා කියන්නේ ඒ විදේශීය ගිය අයගෙන් වැඩිපුර වෙන ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ කියලා අපි හඳුන්වන්නේ. විශාල ඉන්න ඉඳ ඒ වගේම මේ දේශපාලනයෙන් ගත්තත් කියන්නේ දෙවර්ගයක් එක පැත්තක මේක ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී ඩෙමොක්‍රටික් අනිත් පැත්තෙන් ෆෙඩරල්වාදීකුත් තියෙනවා. අර කැන්ටන් කියලා අපේ වගේ පළාත් වගේක් තියෙනවා. ඒ පළාත් වල බලය මේ පාවිච්චි කරනවා. ඉතින් අගේට මානව අයිතිවාසිකම් ගැන සලකා බලනවා. කියන හැම දෙනාටම අයිතිවාසිකමක් තියෙනවා. ඒක සලකනවා. ඒ වයස යන අයට සලකනවා. ජ්‍යෙෂ්ඨ ශිෂ්‍යයාට නොඑක් මේ ඒ අයගේ අවශ්‍යතා සලකලා නිදහසේ සමාජවාදී විදියට සලකාගෙන යනවා. එහෙනම් මේක ඉතාම ආදර්ශමත් රටක හඳුන්වන්න පුළුවන්. මේ තවද මේ කිව්වේ පහුගියදා මේ අර ඇල්ප්ස් කන්දේ වැටි යටින් යන උමං මාර්ගය හදලා තියෙනවා. විශාල මුදල වේදම් කරලා. හැබැයි ජනතාවේ කැමැත්ත ඇහුවා මේකට මෙච්චර වේදම් වෙනවා කමක් නැද කළාට කියලා. How much did you spend for the tunnel? That
13 billion Swiss francs.
13 million.
Billion.
Billion.
It's around 13
billion. I can't imagine how much. 13 billion 13ක් French. What kind of money is that?
The Swiss franc.
Swiss franc.
It's equal to US dollars.
Okay. ඒ විශාල දෙයකට මේ යනවා කියලා ජාතක ඇහුවාම කැමැත්ත පළ කළා. How many years did you take to do?
17 years.
ඒ උමං මාර්ගේ හදන්න අවුරුදු 17ක් ගත වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒකම ඒ විතර නෙමෙයි දෙපැත්තෙන් පටන් ගත්තාම හරියට එක් වෙන හරි තැනදී. So very happy that the difference was how much was the difference between
6 centimeter horizontal and 1 centimeter vertical.
ඒක මේ සෙන්ටිමීටර් ගානේ වෙනසක් තිබිලා දෙපැත්තෙන් ගානේ. ඉතින් කියන කොයිතරම් දක්ෂ ඉංජිනේරු පිරිසක් ඉන්නවද මේ ස්විට්සර්ලන්තේ දෙපැත්තෙන් ආවම හරියටම එක් වෙනවා. වෙනස සෙන්ටිමීටර් ගානක් තියෙනවා. So I think we are so very please go ahead now. Yes.
Yeah. So as you have seen at the beginning in the introduction, that Switzerland is in the central part of Europe. It's a landlocked country.
Okay.
It's very different compared to
Sri Lanka.
To Sri Lanka, yeah. And it's a relatively small domestic market, and we have practically no raw material except of grain and water. So we were forced to open to the world, to Europe and to the world at large. And I think this openness is absolutely crucial, and which is not only an openness who is with respect to economy, but it's also an openness of the spirit of the Swiss people. And we have this openness was one, and it still is, one of the main reasons why we have a competitive economy. So our economy is mainly a service economy. Almost 3/4 of the GDP is produced in a services sector, a bit less than 1/4 in the industry, and only 3.5% in agriculture.
Can you tell us something about your capital city? Can you tell us something about your capital city?
Yeah, this is also typical Swiss. So we have in Bern is the capital city,
Yes.
but the economic center is Zurich. So our founders didn't want to make Zurich as a capital city because this would be too much.
Okay.
So this is another example where you see that we are interested in balancing.
Yes.
Yeah? We are interested in the middle path. I know that the middle path
Like
is
the Buddhist,
something in Buddhism plays a very important role. So I think so Bern is an old city. It's a world heritage. The central
Yes.
part of the city is an old city, and but you can actually walk to all the ministries. So you don't need
Vehicles.
actually a car, or if you have to go a bit further, you can take the tram or the bus. So we have a very and that is also typically for us. We have a very robust and good infrastructure, integrated. So the infrastructure of a city is integrated in the regional infrastructure, and the regional infrastructure is integrated in the national.
For a Sri Lankan tourist, what are the main centers of interest in your country? For say like me going there.
Yeah, it's very difficult to say. Unfortunately, the tourists do not spend enough time in Switzerland.
Oh.
Yeah, but we have around 35 million nights per year. Yeah, so tourists spend 35 million nights in Switzerland.
Okay.
About 55% foreigners, but there are also many Swiss who are traveling in Switzerland, because also for us it's a beautiful country.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So I think there are these famous places like the Jungfrau Joch. So this is the top of Europe, or Titlis. But you can actually go wherever you want, and with the train infrastructure, you don't need to have a car. So it is very easy to change the landscape within 10-15 minutes. If you are in a train going from Geneva to St. Gallen, you will see so many different landscapes within 3 hours. Yeah, 3.5 hours.
So, Your Excellency, ordinary Sri Lankans associate your country with watches.
Yeah.
What's that? The secret behind that?
The secret, though, this is another example where you see that openness towards the world is very beneficial, because the Huguenots who were persecuted in France came in large numbers to Switzerland, and what they did was watchmaking and banking.
Okay.
So they are contributed very much to build up this industry. I think we have around $18 billion export of watches. Yeah, so this is a huge amount of watches, and it actually it also represents a lot of value, Swiss value, precision. And you take time it takes a lot of time to produce a complicated watch. Yeah.
You make the best watches. Do you set the time for the world in any way? You can set the time, the standard time for the world? No, nothing of the kind. Just the watches only.
Yeah, the watches only. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I talked to you about Europe and Switzerland as an integral part of Europe. But Switzerland is also part of the world at large. Yes. And we are living in a globalized world where the interdependence between the countries are very high, and in a density you never expected before, never experienced before. So for us, to be connected with that world and actually make the best benefit of the globalization is very important. I mentioned our competitive economy, but we also want to show our solidarity with those who are not in such a good position. For instance, people who are suffering from natural disasters or armed conflicts. And I can just mention what we did in Sri Lanka as a humanitarian aid between 2003 and 2016. So the first was after the tsunami. We rebuilt 4,500 houses in Trincomalee, and 6,000 houses and many schools in the Matara district. After the end of the armed conflict 2009, we helped the people in the war-affected area to rebuild their houses, to regain their livelihood, and to restructure their community infrastructure. So this is for us. So we want to be part of that global community, and we want to support the people. So we aspire a world without poverty and in peace, and for sustainable development. So, and peace, if I talk of peace, you see that we have a lot of conflicts all over the world. Sri Lanka suffered also from a decade-long armed conflict. Now you are in a process of reconciliation,
Yes.
of mediation between the communities, and I think that the Buddhism and the religion in general play a very important role. We here also support the reconciliation process from the government, but also we support the civil society to play their role in this important reconciliation.
We're very happy to hear that you have placed human rights very high in the agenda. So that's a wonderful thing, nowadays. Of course, we go beyond human rights even for animal rights. Now he's doing a lot of things to save animals who are taken for slaughter. It's a program. Mm-hmm. Animals, especially cattle, are taken for slaughter. And he gets involved and said they pay the money, buy the animal and give it to others. So we consider their rights as well, not only human rights, even animal rights.
Yes, yes. I think that is, of course, if we are talking about sustainability, then it's about protecting all forms of life,
Yes.
Be it the human life, the animal life, or the plants. Also, we should have the same respect towards everything which is
a
living.
Buddhist monk cannot even cut a branch of a tree. It's against the discipline.
Yeah.
A Buddhist monk, he cannot cut a branch of a tree because it has life.
Yeah.
So since they always save life, it's a very, very rigid kind of discipline they have to undergo here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So please, about human, the three languages.
Yeah.
We have probably two languages and an English language. You have three of them, or four of them. So how do you manage to have peace, coexistence with this multilinguistic scenario?
I think in Switzerland, actually, the language was never, a particular language was never the reason for building a nation.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
It was the common political will of people who are speaking different languages to build Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
So the German-speaking part, they want to be Swiss. They don't want to join Germany or Austria. We have excellent relationship with both, with Germany and Austria.
Yes.
But we want to keep our country.
And
the same is true for the Italian-speaking and the French-speaking Swiss. So this is the common denominator. Yeah? We think that we have a good common ground to build up Switzerland. And we think that the language is part of the culture. And we in the education system, every Swiss has to learn at least one other national language. Yeah? So and we have the principle of territoriality. So in Canton Uri, this is a German-speaking canton. Canton Fribourg is German and French-speaking. Canton Geneva is French-speaking. Yeah? So and the Canton Graubünden is German, Romansh, and Italian-speaking. Yeah. So
your mother tongue is French?
German.
German.
German, yeah. But I studied in Fribourg.
Okay.
Yeah. Two of my daughters are studying in the French-speaking part. Anna.
So at home, what happens? In what language do you communicate at home?
At home, it's a dialect. It's a Swiss-German dialect. Yeah.
What's High German, by the way? What's called High German? Or?
High German is that what you read in the newspapers.
Right.
Yeah? So you have in Switzerland the Swiss, the German-speaking Swiss. They are talking to each other in a dialect.
Yes.
But this is not a written language.
Right.
It's only a spoken language.
Same situation here.
Yeah.
We don't call it High Sinhala.
Yeah.
To write, we have one style, to speak another.
Yeah.
So just similar kind of analogy. Kind of. We don't call it literary Sinhala, not High Sinhala. Yeah. So it's a very wonderful situation in your country. So at home you keep on using the kind of dialect form of speech, kind of German dialect, no. But you speak at home
at home,
with children?
It's German.
It's German.
Swiss German. Swiss German.
Swiss German.
Yeah, the dialect.
Yeah. Different from German in Germany? Is it very different in German?
It is very different, especially with the North Germany. But the south of Germany, we can communicate with them in our dialect. No, this is quite happening. But for instance, how we deal with the different languages. For instance, if you have in a federal administration a meeting, a meeting where German-speaking and French-speaking colleagues are participating. So there is a rule that everyone can speak in his language. So I would speak in German, so in High German, and my French colleague, French-speaking colleague, he would speak in French. The only thing which is not working very well is Italian, I have to say. So because the passive knowledge of Italian is not sufficient for most German-speaking and French-speaking that they can follow the discussion. So my Italian-speaking colleagues, they either speak in French or German. So, and they are mostly the only one who are speaking 3 languages. And the only one who can speak 4 languages are the Romansh.
And if you can speak French, you can understand Italian. They're so close, aren't they? French
Yeah,
and Italian?
French and Italian is quite close, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you know one, you can understand the other,
But
basically.
is this, you know, I think if you are speaking another language, you are digging in this other culture. Yeah? If it is translated, it's different. Yeah? It gives you a lot of information are lost.
No flavor, nothing
So
to do.
if I would speak with a French-speaking colleague, then I might also have this conversation in French, or we might have it in German. It depends a bit on the mood. And
The image of Switzerland that we have is that a very rich country, rich in all senses, even in economic terms. Is there any kind of poverty at any level in your country?
Yes, so, you know, in every society you have people who are perhaps were not so lucky or were hit by a coincidence, and this is actually, we have 3 levels of social security. The first level is we try to give every Swiss a good education.
Good education.
The best possible equal opportunity. In Switzerland, every person should have the same opportunity to learn. So a good education is one of the best insurance you can have to become poor. And then we have the second level is the social security system. And the third level, which if the 2 first level are not enough, we have the third level of social help. So people, but these are in Switzerland, according to our poverty definition, about 3 to 4%.
This one.
But what we try to do is to empower these people that they come out of poverty. Not to keep them poor. That is not an objective. So the objective is to help them to come out of the poverty.
So I'm very glad that we could have this wonderful, cordial discussion with you on your country, and the people, the Sri Lankan viewers will have a wonderful idea of your country, and I'm glad that you accept this invitation. අපේ අභාන්තත් මේ කැමති වචනයක් මේක දැන් මේ කියන්නේ හුඟා මේ සමාජ සේවා කටයුතු ගොඩාක් කරගෙන දුප්පත්කම නැති කරන හුඟාක් වැඩ කරගෙන යනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි මම සන්තෝෂයෙන් මෙතන ඒ ආරංචිය අපට සතුටුදායක ආරංචියක් අපි හඳුන්වනවා.
අපි බොහොම සතුටු වෙනවා විශේෂයෙන් ස්විට්සර්ලන්තය බොහෝ රටවල සමාජ සුබ සාධනයේ සඳහා දුප්පත් අයට අත දෙමින් බොහෝ සමාජ සේවා කටයුතු කරන බව අප අසා තිබෙනවා. ඉතින් අපේ ලංකාවටත් ඉබඳු නොයෙක් සමාජ සංවර්ධන කටයුතු වලට නිරන්තරයෙන් අතහිත දෙන රාජ්‍යයක් හැටියට අප බොහොම ගරු කරනවා. ඒ වගේම ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන් බොහෝ දෙනෙක්ට අද බහුලව වාසය කරන රටක් හැටියට ස්විට්සර්ලන්තය සැලකෙනවා. ඉතින් ඔබතුමා එහෙම රාජ්‍යයක තානාපතිතුමෙක් හැටියට අපේ ලංකාවට පැමිණිලා අපේ විහාරස්ථානයට අද පැමිණිලා අපි සමග ඒ රට තොරතුරු අපේ ශ්‍රාවක ජනතාවට දැන ගැනීමට ප්‍රකාශ කිරීම ගැන අපි බෙහෙවින් සතුටු වෙමින් ඔබතුමාගේ සේවාව තව තවත් අපේ රටට ලැබේවා, ඔබතුමාට නිරෝගී සම්පත් ලැබේවා කියලා අපි ආශිර්වාද කරනවා.
He's wishing you the best of health. That's what we need at this on the day. So, and one gift from him.
Thank you very much.
We don't have clocks. We have one silver. And I'm happy to present you two of my newest books. One on the Vesak festival we just had, but it all means, and a book on Siddhartha, who became the Buddha later.
yeah.
So you'll get to know who he is.
Thank you very much.
All the best.
I also would like to present you a book. What I think is beautiful
Yes.
photos of
Switzerland.
You see here the Matterhorn
Yes.
and mirrored in a lake.
Yes.
So you
Good photograph.
Matterhorn
Good
twice.
photograph. Very good photograph. Yeah.
And here we have also, let's say, a testimonial about our humanitarian aid
Tsunami.
with tsunami,
Tsunami.
plus the certain DVDs, including of our World Heritage in Switzerland. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. All the best.